Hello, everybody. How you doing? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's Gus Tucker here, Financial Freedom Fridays. And make sure you share this out with friends, family, loved ones, people you care about. If it's helping you, it maybe could help somebody else. We're here for session number 2 about creating income. How good are you at creating income? And today we're going to talk about intrapreneuring and entrepreneuring. So those are the two ways to make more money. We talked about last time, you've got to create more value in the marketplace. And there's two ways to do that. It's to get paid more where you're currently at by creating more value or starting a business of your own. And so just real quick, who am I? Again, I'm Gus Tucker. I'm looking forward to our conversation. And, why should you invest 30 minutes here with me? Uh, Here's why. This is about your financial freedom. And it's about us working together over these 30 minutes to put some ideas in your mind about how you might go about doing that and thinking about, what is financial freedom to you and working together on that plan. And in my mind, financial freedom is about a lifestyle. And lifestyle equals control over time and control over money. Control over time, control over your money. If you have control over your time, but no money, that's not very much fun. You got control over your time, but no money, what are you able to do with the time? If you have control over your money, but you don't have any time to enjoy it, then you're trapped by whatever it is that you do to make money. So our goal is to balance controlling our time and our money and having both at the level in which we're excited about the lifestyle that we're living. So why me? We talked about this a little bit last time. My goal is to be a tour guide and not a travel agent. A travel agent is a person who puts the whole package together, tries to get you the best prices, and sends you on your way, but they've never been to the destination you're trying to go to. A tour guide is someone who's been there before. They may not know all the details of it, but they know enough to make sure you have a great time. And each time you go back to the location, and each time the tour guide goes back to the location, guess what? They learn more and more and more and more and more and more, and they're able to be a better tour guide. So I'm on this journey, as you are, looking to learn and grow and develop every day. Every day is a time to get better. Okay. So my goal is to be your tour guide as we talk about these things. And my background is I'm an athlete, a 3-sport athlete in high school, and I went to the University of Arizona. I went to Cincinnati, that's now rated in the top 10 in football, and I went to the University of Arizona, and I majored in marketing. I also did a MBA at the University of Chicago, and I have worked for 4 different Fortune 500 companies during that time period. I'm married to Renee. We've been married 36 years. I have 3 adult children. So 1 wife, 3 kids, and very active in my church where I've served in different roles in leadership. And I've owned numerous businesses. Right now, we're operating 2, one in the financial industry on the personal side, where we work with, and we'll be talking about this going forward. We work with individuals to put together plans to manage, grow, develop, use, and then pass on multi-generational wealth. And then I'm also involved with a company called the Dream Exchange, where we're launching 2 Black-owned stock exchanges next year in 2022, where for the first time in the history of our country, you will be able to trade stocks on an exchange like the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ that's owned by Black people. And we're also launching a new security called a venture security that's going to allow private companies to market themselves in the public markets to get capital into their company. So think of it as a Wall Street without walls. This is some pictures, being married, my family, playing football, things like that. But so that's a little bit about me. So I'm on the same journey you are, just continuing to get better every day, to create more value for my family and to help other people do the same thing. So let's get into this a little bit. Wealth development process is always a process of personal development. I don't know about you, but every day I learn more and more about what I don't know. I heard this somewhere that there's more information created in a day than had been created in the first several hundred years of our civilization, because so much content is being put out by people. Think about it. Everybody's a content provider now through Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. People are creating content all the time, and more information is hitting our senses all the time. But the issue is to kind of ferret it out and figure out what's best going to help you. And I want to thank blackdoctor.org for making this available to really help folks move forward. So personal development. Next thing we talked about is income generation. The first step in making and getting wealthy is creating income. And we talked about last time about how income generation is really about creating more value in the marketplace. The more people you help with more important products and services, and the better quality they are, the more money you're going to make. So that second part of income generation we're going to talk about today in our let me get back to this first. We had a little homework from last time we got together. Now, I didn't get many emails, but I hope you're doing your homework out there. And your homework was to think of 5 tangible resources that you have, tangible things you can put your hands on that you have that you could use to create a product or service to serve other people. And then 5 intangible resources you have, like personality. My wife and I listened to a stand-up comedian the other day. For 25 minutes, we were on the floor. He's used his personality, his sense of humor, to create millions of dollars for himself out of thin air. Boom. By putting together a stand-up routine. That's an intangible thing, your personality. So what resources do you have, tangible and intangible, that you can begin to convert them into solutions? That's how you make money. That's how you make money. Blackdoctor.org has taken the concept of providing health and wellness information to people of color, to Black and brown people, to help them have better lives. That's why we're here today. Because the owner, Reggie Ware, some years ago saw that need and put the system together to make that happen. You can do the same thing. So let's get into today's topic a little bit. There's 2 basic ways that you're going to make money. One is you're going to work for someone else in a job situation, or you're going to own your own business. Okay? You're either going to work from someone, next slide, in a job situation, or you're going to have your own business. So 2 work strategies. One is personal. Okay? Personal, and you work or you work with a team, but you're working at a job. The other is personal, and you have a business team. So let's think about this for a second. Where you work at, if you have a job, you've got a job classification of some sort. And usually what they do in jobs is they have a mid-range, a low, and a high that they'll pay for a job. Okay? And within that job, as you get more skilled and you do a better job, you can get raises. But your goal is to get promoted out of that job into another job. Well, we can talk about this all day, but promotions happen a lot of different ways. I get that. But let's just talk about merit-based moving up in the company. Typically, the way you do that is create more value. Now, I know you guys have heard this idea called reinventing yourself, creating innovation. Okay? So within an employee framework, a person has to innovate within their work environment. So both you as an individual and you leading a team of people within your employee environment to bring innovation. Personally, I can think back to 2 or 3 times over 25 years of working for somebody else where I had to reinvent myself to get promoted. It was a way of breaking out of the pack. So let me ask you this. Where you work at right now, do you see spaces and places where you say, man, that could be done better? It could be done differently. Maybe it shouldn't be done at all and we should replace it with this. Or here's a new product or service that we could offer. Or this is a way of evaluating this or looking at this. Those thoughts formulated and put together in a plan can be executed within a company, and it can cause you to be promoted and make more money. There's one particular company I was working in where a new technology came into our company, a new way of looking at our business units. And I saw that, and we had applied it in our business unit, and I offered up the idea that, hey, look, we ought to have a team of people that are working inside the company to help the individual business units figure out, man, how do we actually make money? What creates value for our customers? What could we be doing that we're not doing? What are we doing that maybe we shouldn't be doing? And how do we do it differently? And that ended up creating a team that I led in the company, and it increased my income by 30, 40%. And I had a new position that was created. And then we created more value for the company by helping the business units do a better job of selling and marketing and delivering their products and creating value for the company. So what could you do within the company you work at to create more value? And let's say you're working at a company, you haven't started a business yet. Do you know the same skills you're going to need to do that entrepreneuring within that company are the same skills you're going to need when you leave? I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, just yesterday actually, and she was a senior executive at a bank. And she had been doing that for a while, and she was thinking about what's next? What's next? What's next? What should I do next? And so she had hired a coach to help her kind of think through those things and kind of plan that out and look at her tangible resources, her intangible resources, what things was she good at. And in the process, guess what her coach said? And you ought to be a life coach, like what I'm doing. What? I never really thought about that. So she thought about it, thought it made some sense, put together a plan. And while she was at work, she started part-time. She got some certifications. She put together a business plan. She began to get some clients. And guess what? Last year, she struck out on her own. And within like 6 months, she had replaced her income from her day job. And she was a multi-six-figure earner in a banking corporation. So the same skills that she needed to do her banking job, she just repurposed them and applied them in a different way and created a business. So look around within your company and figure out where can you create more value and create a different perspective on you and make more money. That's the first way. Entrepreneuring within the company you're in, inside it, use the resources within the company and help it become more valuable. Okay? The second idea is entrepreneurship. That's developing a business outside of your company. Okay? So you're an owner and you develop your own business innovation. We were actually on a Bible study last night, and one of the people in the Bible study started making candles. And so for the past 6 months, she's been putting together formulations for these candles, developing her website, developing her pricing strategy, her marketing strategy. And over the weekend, she's going to build an inventory of over 100 candles. And these aren't $5 candles or $10. These candles are pricey. And she's got orders to move those things out. So, question for you. What tangible resources do you have? What intangible resources? And the intangible could be a hobby, a passion, a skill, a desire. How can you match that with these tangible resources and put together a business plan for yourself? you look at, there are basically four ways to make money. There are a couple of books I would encourage you to read. They're by a guy named Robert Kiyosaki. They've been around for a long time. Robert Kiyosaki's been around for a long time. And the first book is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You may have heard of it before, but I would encourage you to read that because it's gonna help with your mindset. The second book is called Cash Flow Quadrant. And you see up on the screen the cash flow quadrant. And basically, what this book helped me to understand was there's basically four ways to make money. And the first way is as an employee, where you work for someone and you essentially trade hours for dollars, and you're an employee at somebody else's company. And that's where the entrepreneuring comes in, where you inside of that company take your skills and abilities and apply them at a higher level to make more money. Does that make sense? So I've got a daughter who works in corporate. She also owns real estate. And, she's always creating within her current employer better ways of doing things. And that's one of the ways that she continues to get promoted. So what are you doing inside your company, intrapreneuring, to make that happen? The second thing is entrepreneur. You can either do that as a self-employed person, and a self-employed person is a person that owns their job. Basically, it's their company, but they do all the work. And that's an entrepreneur. A business owner is someone who has two things. One, they have a team of people that work with them, and they have a business system that creates the product or service that they're marketing to the consumer. So they've got a team of people and a business system. And most businesses start out as self-employed. Then as they begin to grow, develop clientele, and get bigger, they begin to bring on people who are part of that team and expand that system, and it continues to grow. So question for you today: which quadrants are you in right now making your income? And what I'm suggesting to you is that as you get to the right side of this cash flow quadrant, that's where most of the money is made in America, from people who are business owners. How many multimillionaires and billionaires are not business owners? Very few. And if they are, they're the top employees at their company. Okay? They're the top employees at the company. So what quadrant are you in? How do you make money today? Moving yourself to different quadrants requires you to develop different skills than you have today. And even within the employee quadrant, when you start thinking about self-employed, you don't think about I'm going to a job to do a job. You think about I'm going to this job because there's a part of this company that I'm responsible for, that I'm innovating, that I'm making better. So you take ownership, even of when you're an employee, take ownership of your areas of responsibility. Treat it like it's your business. And you'll look at it totally different. You'll look at your job totally different, and you'll get paid totally different. When you look at it like this is my business, and I need to make it more profitable, I need to make it more efficient, more effective, you'll look at it different. And I don't know about you, but a lot of employees want to do as little as they can not to get fired. They want to keep the check coming in, but they ain't trying to kill themselves. That's not the person that's going to make a lot more money and create a lot more value. Okay? So intrapreneuring within your employment situation, entrepreneuring creates something outside of it. So what are some skills that you're going to need to develop? Hey, the same skills are needed for entrepreneurship that are needed for entrepreneuring. And on this slide, you'll see what skills do you need? First of all, some people and leadership skills. I really encourage you to read a guy named John Maxwell. John Maxwell is one of the leaders around the concept of training and leadership development. Okay, John Maxwell. So, and also books on strategy, books on business strategy. If you go in Amazon or Google, did some business strategy, there's one called Blue Ocean Strategy you might want to think about. There are all kind of books out there on business strategy. Do you really understand your company's mission? Either the one you're working for or the one you want to develop. Are you able to communicate that mission and vision and what it's supposed to be doing to create value in the marketplace? Are you able to communicate that to other people in such a way that it motivates them to be on your team? Because your whole goal in making more money is to build and develop teams. If you think about where you work, the people that make the most money either lead teams of people, which are human assets, or they're responsible for some kind of physical assets, whether it's computers or manufacturing or their trucks or buildings. They're responsible for that. So you're either responsible for people, or you're responsible for physical assets, or you're responsible for both. But those things require leadership, and those are the people that make the most money, whether they're an employee or they're a business owner. Then there are technical skills you need to develop. Accounting, how do you develop and manage cash flow? So develop is the sales part of it. But once you sell it, guess what? You got to collect money from the people you sold it to. And then you've got to manage that money. Communication and marketing skills. Especially today, there are many more and different ways to market than when I was in corporate. There was no Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, texting even. That didn't exist. But today there are so many more ways to get a message out to the people that are going to buy your product and service. Do you understand how to use those tools? Do you understand how to use those tools? Do you understand how to build business systems so you don't have to do all the work? Can you teach people selling, marketing, communications, distribution? Can you teach people that so they can run a system without you? Do you understand legal structures? Is this an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp? Why am I set up this way? How does this protect my assets? How does this protect my business? And do you understand how to develop and deliver products and services? Gus, come on, bro. This sounds like a lot of stuff. Yeah. You want to make more money? Guess what? More responsibility, more skill. Generally speaking, you don't see people that are making hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars that aren't sharp and understand business. They may not be experts at all of it, but they're experts at part of it, and they know enough to hire experts in the part that they're not expert about. So the question for you is, what are those tangible resources you have and intangible resources that you have that you can convert to a product or service that can solve problems and create value? That can solve problems, create value. Look, we're on one of them now. We're on Facebook Live. Now it's not even called Facebook anymore. What's it called? Meta. Why? Because Facebook is thinking about how they can expand themselves beyond Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and the other things that they have, and how do they become integrated in our society even more? What's the next big thing? That's what the meta is about. Guess what they're thinking about? What are the intangible things we have? What are the tangible things we have? How do we put them together to provide the next product or service that's going to create value? Now, what do I suggest you do? Let's say you are wanting to start a business, okay? And how do you acquire these skills that are needed? On the next slide, I give you some suggestions. One, educate yourself and create your own experiences in the areas of your interest. So those areas where you have tangible resources and intangible resources. How did my friend become a coach? She hired one to help her figure out what it is she wanted to do. And there are all levels of coaches that cost different amounts of money. So get in where you fit in, and there's probably someone who can coach you. How do you do that? Google, YouTube, social media. There are online mentors you can find. Leverage the free stuff first. Try it on your own, and then grow into, well, I need to hire somebody to coach me. Learn how to use social media, how to develop a tribe. There's a great book by Seth Godin, Seth, Godin, about creating tribes. You're part of blackdoctor.org's online tribe because they provide a value to you. So you spend and invest some of your time here. Find a mentor or a coach in your area of interest or need. Okay? And we've done this our whole lives. A friend of mine, she's a single mom, and she, Gus, I need someone to help my son with basketball. He's also interested in martial arts and art. So I started reaching out to people in my network that I knew that we're going to come around this young man and provide the support he needs to grow those skills. Guess what? Same process for us as adults. Who can we bring around us to help us to do that? They have things in every state called small business development centers. And they have experts in different areas of business that can sit with you and help you think through these issues. I used to run one with the Chicago Urban League, and they still exist. If you're in Chicago, that's one of the ones to check out. The Chicago Urban League has an entrepreneurship center. So there are things called entrepreneurship centers around, business accelerators, small business development centers, where you can go and begin to develop these skills that you need, either to be an entrepreneur within where you work or to be an entrepreneur starting your own business. So there are, like I said, the Urban League and other nonprofits. Then there's formal education where you can go back and get degrees and certificates. Okay? Now, the key thing is get started taking action and moving in the direction of your dreams. That's the most important part of it. Now, one of the things I want to do is introduce you to people that I've come across that are doing innovative things that are making a difference. So, in my work with the Dream Exchange, I met a gentleman. His name is Johnny Stewart. Okay, he's out in Los Angeles. And he runs something called the Black Unicorn Factory. Well, we all know what black is. In this case, it means people of color, black and brown people of color. Okay? Unicorn. A unicorn is typically a $1 billion company, right? So he's got 75 businesses that are in his Black Unicorn Factory. And the goal is for him to help them go public and raise capital in the capital markets. And right now, all 75 of these companies are in the process of doing that. They're in the process of developing their own business, and they're developing the capability to have shares of stock that are issued and are available to be sold on a stock exchange. And the Dream Exchange is one of the exchanges that they want to come to raise money for the companies. So one of the paths to personal and generational wealth is owning a company and having outside people invest in it or have it go public. In our country, that's been one of the number one ways to create lots of money. Can you say Bill Gates? Bill Gates' company went public at $68 million. Now the market cap of that company is over $1 trillion. That's how Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook got rich. That's how Steve Jobs at Apple got rich. Small, great idea, small company, grow it, go public, put it on a stock exchange, billions. Guess what? We're not taught how to do that. But guess what? Johnny Stewart at the Black Unicorn Factory is teaching 75 businesses right now how to do that. And he's got a waiting list of hundreds of people that want to get in. So I'm going to introduce you to him next Friday. And he can talk about how he's an entrepreneur, how he got started, and how he took the Jobs Act that was developed by President Obama. He's took 8 years to really become an expert at it and how to take companies public. And now he's teaching it to entrepreneurs along with the skills that they need to go public. He did the process that I just shared with you to create the Black Unicorn Factory. Now he's created 75 companies that are going to be going public. So don't miss next week. Share this with other people that are business owners that might be looking for someone to help them grow their company. So share this with other folks. And we'll see you next Friday, same time, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, on Financial Freedom Fridays. And we'll have Johnny Stewart here talking about the Black Unicorn Factory, how to grow your business from scratch to going public and create multi-generational wealth. All right? You guys have a great afternoon and have a great weekend. It's been great chatting with you. Gus Tucker.